Well, this is a tutorial on how to make enemies that jump to the left and right instead of just moving. Okay, now if you have Pro, then you only need to make 2 sprites for now. But if you do not have Pro, then you're going to need 3. Now I'm just going to start off by making a simple enemy going right. I actually use the block design for a lot of my games, but usually I do a little more detail on the eyes than I'm going to do here. Okay. Now, if you ever have a sprite that takes up the entire space for the image, you have to click transparent off, otherwise it's gonna just have no outline. And if you don't have an outline to start with, it's gonna be completely invisible, except for any features you might have put on. Now, you're gonna have to center it, otherwise it's gonna look weird when it turns around. Make another sprite. This one's just going to be a little block for the floor. You can make it any size you want, but I usually prefer to use 16 by 16. Now, you're going to need to make timelines, and if you don't know what a timeline is, you're probably in simple mode. You're going to have to click File and go to Advanced mode. Make sure there is a little black check on right next to Advanced mode. Oh, don't forget, click Transparent off for anything with a full block. And don't center the block, the floor block. You're going to need to create 2 objects for the block, just make it solid and that's it. Add a step event for your enemy. Obviously give it your enemy sprite. Now add check empty from the control tab. Y should be 1 and relative should be checked or it will not work. Now add gravity, direction 270 which is pointing down, and the gravity should be set to point whatever you want. I recommend 0.5 because that usually gives best results. And you're going to need to put else and set gravity direction 270. If you give it a different direction other than 270 for stopping the gravity, it's going to make a different gravity and it won't stop what you already have. Okay, now make a timeline called, well, it doesn't matter, but I'm going to call it jump left and right. You can use any interval you want, but I'm going to use 50 because that's nice and simple. Now put move fixed up right. And the speed can be anything, but I'm going to use 6. Now, this is where Pro comes in handy. If you do have Pro like I do, then all you have to do is go to Transform Sprite, along with the little arrows, no mirroring. If you do have if you don't have Pro, then you're going to need to change the sprite completely to a sprite going left. To do that, just right-click, duplicate, and go to Transform when you're working on the sprite, mirror horizontal. Double whatever your first interval was. You don't need Transform the sprite. It's just taking up space. Then add your interval again. Add it again. Now, you can have it jump as many times as you want, but I'm going to have it jump 3 times to the right and 3 times to the left, and then switch. Now, you got to make sure that when you get to the halfway, you switch the direction. If two are clicked at the same time, the game is just going to choose one of them randomly. Okay. And then you have to change your sprite again. If you have Pro, just hit mirror horizontally. Just like this, no mirroring for the first, and then on the fourth, mirror horizontal. Duplicate it to 50. Get rid of that, it's just taking up space for the second one. Now, for your last one, it's important to have it reset itself so it keeps jumping. Otherwise, it's just going to stop. Set to whatever you named your jump timeline. Position 0, otherwise it's going to jump way too early. Now, you're going to need to go back to your enemy real quick and add a create event. Set to timeline, jump left and right, position 0. Ooh, I almost forgot. You have to add a collision event with object 1. Now, if you watch tutorials on jumping, you should probably know. Move to contact, direction, just put direction, maximum 12 against solid objects. Most tutorials will tell you to put speed vertical to 0, but for this to work, you're going to need to put move fixed. Just click the center. Make sure you don't set the speed to anything, just have it in the center, speed 0. Oh, almost forgot. Make a room, add a whole bunch of your little blocks. Sorry, my touchpad's just acting a little weird. Okay, let's test it out. Okay, everything works fine. Thank you for watching, and have a good evening or morning, whatever time of day it is.